Good morning. I believe it's September the 1st, 2024. This is Keith. It may take a while before anyone comes on here, but I recently did a live stream to test a new internet service, and we had some problems when we first started out, and ended up having to get the second router. So I wasn't very happy with the last live feed that I did. It didn't seem to be, well, I think it was shaky. And so I'm trying it one more time, and yeah, I just want to find out if it's going to work or not. The topic I listed, or the description today, is thankful. Uh, I'm always trying my best to be thankful, and sometimes people get logged down under a thing called life, and I think it's easy to forget to be thankful. So I think it's important that we always remember to be thankful for those things that we do have to be thankful for. I always try to remember, if there's something in your life you're not happy about, try to remember that those that have less than you to be happy about. And yet I know some people that it's hard to understand how they're happy, but yet they seem to have an exuberant joy about them, even though they're going through such trials and hardships. And a lot of us really have it good compared to so many others. I mean, I'm not living on a dirt floor. We have so many things to be thankful for. We have plenty of water to drink. I've understood there's places in the world where people die because they can't get clean water. I used to have a dream of someday being able to go somewhere and help drill a well, or drill a well, and teach some of the young people to how to maintain a well, and leave the parts with them to repair it if it ever gave them trouble. And that's quite a few years back that I had that. I'm going to call it a dream, something that would seem like it would be very fulfilling to do, and things hadn't really worked out for me to be able to do that. But I've noticed in the last several years that quite a few other people have done exactly that, and I was very glad to hear that. Uh, I guess sometimes when thoughts come to people of good things to do, that it doesn't just come to one person; it comes to many people. And I guess I was just one of many that had that thought, that if I was ever able to do something like that, I would love, to do something that would really help a lot of people. It's funny, I'm on here talking, but I don't even really know for sure if if my sound is working. I do see a light flashing that it looks like it's fairly likely that I'm coming through this Bluetooth, but uh, I'm not sure. There's a lot I still don't know about how all this works out. I think when I switch to the Bluetooth that it blocks out the other sounds. So I'm just taking a chance that there is no sound. But the last time it did work, so I'm going to go ahead and be presumptuous and think that maybe it is working okay. Oh, it's funny that um, yeah, the only way I really know for sure is when I play it back later. There's probably not anybody on here yet anyway, so anybody that might look at this later, it's going to be listed under the live feeds, in which I have a lot of videos, but I don't have as many that are live feeds. So live feed hasn't really been a thing for me so far because I haven't had that option. The past internet service that I had was, well, it was just way too slow. And this one could be, I'm not sure. We don't like to spend a lot of money on the internet connection. Uh, is generally what we do, other than something different like this. It's something we can usually get by with the lower speed internet, but we have raised it up some. I mean, I think it was like $20 more a while back. We went to the next level because sometimes we'll have a couple of different notebooks or something on it, and it'll load it up. But right now, I'm the only one on it, so I'm hoping that it's making a smooth video. So I'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, for those that would look at this later and see it, yeah, I got a pillow behind my head. Looks funny, but I've not made a lot of videos very recently because I've really thought a lot about this, and my main objective in coming on to the YouTube is to really encourage people, and I'm just, unless I get something that's really opened up to me in such a way that it's like it's when I'm reading the word that comes off the page and it really sticks with me, a word of encouragement. Unless it's hard sometimes for me just in my normal thinking process to come up with something that would really be worth listening to. And I've listened to some of my videos, and honestly, I think there's a lot of people that make videos that maybe they don't. I don't know. It seems like there's this thing about trying to get people to click on things. I don't want to ever be like that. I've never gotten you know I've, I've never done this to make get anybody to give me money. I've never collected anything, and I never had that intention. I just only wanted to. Well, basically, when I started making videos, I was putting things back because I've been blessed in watching videos. For instance, I remember a time when my garage door, something went wrong with it. It just wouldn't work. And so I got on the phone and I got on the local advertisement looking. I think I got on this has been so long ago, it's hard to remember, but I was trying to find a local garage door repair. Excuse me. And I couldn't, I couldn't find anybody locally that would come out. I actually ended up, I think I found someone in a nearby city about 45 miles away that did advertise. And I don't want to say this wrong, but I think that I did talk to someone, and they were supposed to come out, but they never did. So out of frustration, I decided to go on to the YouTube and just look at it and see if I could find a video about how to fix the thing myself, since I couldn't get anybody to come out here and fix it. I really didn't want to mess with it because those are dangerous. You get the spring wound up on the garage door, and if you do the wrong thing and it throws a wrench at you, it could hurt you. And so I did watch a video, and after that I felt really confident that I could fix this thing. So I did. I did the way they did on the video, and I was able to unload the pressure from the spring, or the other spring. I think one of the springs was broken. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And I ended up, because of YouTube, I was able to figure out what to order and how to replace it myself. And there's been multiple things. I've fixed a dryer. I've fixed a washing machine. I mean, and I hate working on washing machines. It seems to me like that's one of the worst things. But anyway, I've things on the cars. I've watched a lot of different videos that have been really helpful. And I'm always of the mindset I don't like to be a taker. You know, it's okay to be a taker, but you need at some point you need to be able to give back as well. And that's when I started making videos of things that I encountered mainly I focused on the things that I couldn't find a video about. I remember one time I needed to change a starter on something, and I just couldn't. I couldn't find a video. I mean, not a sufficient one. There were people that made some, but they really didn't go into any detail. And so, and this is just one that I can think of. I made. Uh, I went ahead but the problem with it is though with me is it's just me, and I don't have any camera person to sit there and hold the camera. So I've either got a tripod or I'm trying to hold the camera and do it at the same time, and I've gotten some bad comments about how that I shouldn't be making videos, but I got to be honest with you. Sometimes even a video that's poor quality, if there are no other videos and you just can't get in any instructions, I've got one video of where I did a thing where that I told them up front because I'd already experienced somebody complain about, man, you do a sorry video. I started just telling them up front, okay, I'm going to tell you what, I don't have a cameraman. I'm doing the best I can, and this video may not be that good, but hopefully it'll help you. And I've had other people comment back later and said, man, don't worry about it. It's this, I was just glad to find this. I couldn't find anything else except this, and you showed me exactly what I needed to do. So anyway, my point is in making videos is to try to be helpful to people. And yeah, that's just my purpose. I feel like I need to put something in because I've taken something out, and so I have done that. And my dad and my father-in-law were both pastors, so that makes me and my wife, we're preacher. We were preachers' kids. Now we're old people. We're old people that our fathers were pastors. But it's something, unless you've been a pastor's kid, you don't really know what it's like. You end up you're the one of the biggest supporters. You got to be there every time the doors are open, and we did that. And so we study the Bible a lot. It's funny, me. I watched a movie a few years back. It was called Footloose, and this girl was a preacher's kid. And anyway, when it all came down to it, they were arguing with the town council about having a dance. And this young fellow that came to town, he was all eager to try to do what he could to help him along with it. And when it came down to talking to the city council, this girl brings up all these. She's got her Bible all marked with all these scriptures, and he says, "How did you come up with this?" And she looked at him like, "Duh, are you kidding me?" When you're a preacher's kid, you pretty much read at least the New Testament. I figure, I know I had, and I still read it. I still read it up. Well, right now I'm reading it every day on a schedule in the morning, and it is good. It's very good to do because you gain a lot over time. I mean, you reread it, you gain more. I started underlining things a while back, and I've got a yellow marker, which I really prefer underlining. But anyway, the thing is, the main things that I feel like I can do is encourage people because, I have read the Bible. I have received a healing in my life when I was very young. I've received more than that, but the biggest thing that happened that stands out the most to me, and my dad wasn't a pastor at the time either because he had just started his family, and I was very young, and God miraculously healed my body from an accident that I was in, and I've told my story on other videos, but the things that I feel like I can share are things from my experience in life, and you can't really share what you haven't experienced. So anyway, I just want to encourage anyone watching this, try to be thankful. I think it's real important because another thing I've noticed as I've been reading in the Bible, I've been trying to read the new. Well, I've read the New Testament many times, and I'm rereading that. But I have several markers in my Bible, and I go back and I'm reading. I think in the prophet Jeremiah right now, the Old Testament. But the thing that I've seen that I've noticed about that Old Testament, the main things, the main things that keep coming up that I see, and I've always wondered, I know it's a historical, the Old Testament's historical, and it's for references. And there's a lot of good stories like, Moses and his life story and many others. But the main thing that I keep seeing in the Old Testament that God was, he wasn't happy with people for the fact that they were bringing in other gods, other religions, and he had already told them specifically not to do that, and they'd ended up going to nearby cities or whatever and taking wives and bringing their religions and going after them. And I just that's for whatever reason I bring that up. I don't know, except it's just something that I noticed. I've never really felt real compelled to study real deeply the Old Testament. I guess a lot of times I've gotten into the genealogies and such that just seems like it's hard to get through. And I know a lot of people that they want to set out to read the Bible, they might be OCD about wanting to start at the front of the book, read all the way through. And I think very few people ever make it through the whole Bible doing that because of the genealogies and uh, a lot of the things that can get, well, it's hard to understand mainly. But, I could see a value in starting out in the book of Genesis, maybe reading a few chapters there to see how the earth was formed and such. But I think more, and I've tried to encourage anybody that's asked me about it, how would you start out? I would, really recommend starting in the New Testament. For me, it's the book of John. I like that because it's very easy to understand and it leads you on the path to salvation. Of course, the other three Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, focus on the red letter and Jesus, what he says. And yeah, you make it through the New Testament, at least you'll have a good, um, you'll have something to go on as far as your life to be every day and going in the right direction. And for me, going back and just reading the Old Testament here and there, that's personally that's what's working for me. I do. I guess the value that I saw in reading the Old Testament was that the fact that it was referenced to at a few places in the New Testament, and one of them is Psalms. Um, Jesus referenced the Psalms, and I've noticed, and I've mentioned this before, but I remember many years ago, I used to see a book of the Bible. It was, you know, much thinner than a lot of the regular Bibles that you see, and on the front it said New Testament, Psalms, and Proverbs, which means the only two books of the Old Testament were the Psalms and the Proverbs, and those do for me, they're pretty easy to read, especially the Psalms. It can be really comforting, reading the Psalms. I've even at one point committed some of them to memory, and which brings up another point, which is a side road of different versions. It's for me because I had memorized the King James. It's especially if I'm at a meeting where they put it up on the book, on the projector, they put on a different version. Uh, I prefer they did the King James because I don't want to get my memory mixed up. It's like it's going to confuse me or something. But I got to thinking about that. As long really as you memorize and you get the meaning out of whatever it is, that's the main thing. It's not about one little tiny word of difference. Uh, yeah. Anyway, I guess I'm just rambling. But I did want to test out this live streaming on the internet service that I have with the new modem and find out if it's going to work. Encourage people to be thankful today for whatever you have, and if you're lacking, then pray. Still be thankful for what you do have, and humbly ask God to help you to get through whatever you're going through. I do it all the time. And the main thing that I remember about it is I don't be presumptuous to think that things have to happen in a specific, certain way because they rarely ever do. I look back on things and they worked out, and I think, wow, that happened in a different way than I thought it would. So anyway, I'm going to keep this short and say thanks for watching the videos. Hey, if I'm a boring guy, just speed it up. Just put it, I don't, it doesn't affect me. I'm the kind of person I can hear somebody speak sometimes double speed and still comprehend. It depends on how fast they speak. I know I'm a slow speaker, so you might listen to me on double speed or 1.75. Feel free to do so. I just wanted to get the message across. Be thankful, and God bless you. Thanks for watching.